What's up, guys? I'm Chris Spags here, back with another Four Corners video for today's 12-game MLB main slate, courtesy of Awesemo.com. Now, this is going to be a weird slate because it's almost entirely bereft of quality pitching, and you're going to find that out real fast here. But the good news is that means there's going to be a lot of hitting opportunities, so that means I am going to give away a free month of an Awesemo Plus membership. All you have to do is both like this video, comment your double dong pick down below. We had a bunch of people who were right on Friday. I'll be announcing the winner of that contest a little bit later in the video, but right now, you can get in on the goods. Like the video and comment your double dong pick for a chance to win a free month of an Awesemo Plus membership. But for now, on to our first corner on today's slate, the top pitching, and Danny Duffy going against Seattle is going to be the top owned pitcher industry-wide. Duffy gets 4.5 implied runs against him, and he'll be expecting number one owned pitcher on DraftKings with 38% and on FanDuel with 28%. A chalk Danny Duffy, or really anywhere else pitcher at all, is always a sign of an iffy pitching slate, so Duffy's matchup with the Seattle projected lineup that has a 27.8% K rate and a 135 ISO versus left-hand pitching is enough to make him interesting, but likely still pretty decently over-owned. I don't mind Duffy in a spot here. The matchup for Seattle is good. They've gotten appreciably weaker with the removal of Edwin Encarnacion from their roster. I think it's a good spot to go to Duffy, but he just is a little bit too highly owned for me to match the field on him today. Miles Mikolas versus Miami should also be popular today with 3.2 implied runs against him. Overall, he'll be the number 2 owned pitcher today with more ownership expected on SP2 sites. Mikolas doesn't get strikeouts with just 6.6 Ks per nine, but Miami's 25% K rate versus right-hand pitching gives us some hope on a weak pitching slate, and hitters like Garrett Cooper and Harold Ramirez over a 130 WRC plus versus right-hand pitching could be interesting leverage going the other way. Mikolas is a guy who's going to be a little bit over-owned given his low ability for strikeouts. I think the spot's okay. I'm willing to come close to his ownership, but I'd rather try to deviate a little bit here because I don't see a ton of upside for him, even though he's going to have a crazy amount of ownership everywhere. And if you thought these two guys weren't proof enough of a weak pitching slate, how about Mike Fiers versus Baltimore being a top option today with 3.3 implied runs against him? Fiers is going to be comparably owned to Mikolas on all the SP2 sites today. The low team total in a pitching-friendly park is interesting, but Fiers is also unable to strike guys out, which is 6.2 Ks per nine and a 7.7% swing strike rate. So Baltimore's projected lineup bringing a 28% K rate and a weak 74 WRC plus offers some theoretical opportunity. Much like Mikolas, Fiers is more of a pitcher who can limit damage rather than get a bunch of strikeout upside. I think the spot's okay for Fiers because of his price and a weak pitching slate, but he's not a guy I'm enthusiastic about matching the field's ownership on. On to our next corner, the top stacks on the slate. An Angel stack going against Edwin Jackson should be a popular one today with 6 implied runs in their favor, which is a slate high. Jackson has continued to be poor on the year with a 2.03 whip, 14.6 hits per nine allowed, and a 7.4% home run rate, and now he's going against a projected lineup for the Angels who has a 119 WRC plus and a 19% K rate versus right-hand pitching, which is significantly under league average. Mike Trout and Sho Ohtani both seem worth the premium prices, while the relative value for guys like Justin Upton is returning to the lineup and Cole Calhoun could pay off in a top-hitting park. I like the spot for the Angels today. They're going to be very popular. They should be the top stack everywhere. But the situation here going against Edwin Jackson is about as good as you can find on today's slate. A Kansas City stack versus Tommy Malone should also find some ownership today with 4 implied runs for them. Malone struggles versus righties, so the decreased prices for Kansas City towards the top of their order should result in high ownership for a few guys. Malone allows 11.2 hits per nine and a 5.9% home run rate to righties, so while his .99 whip overall indicates an ability to limit damage, there could be some value in KC mini stacks. Kansas City mini stacks should be decently owned though, so if you want to get to a full stack to try to change your lineup, or if you just want to avoid this game entirely, that may be a wise move. And a Dodger stack versus Tyler Beede should also find some ownership today with 5.3 implied runs for them. Beede has struck guys out well with 10.5 Ks per nine, but his 2.1 whip and 5.2 xFIP offer solid opportunity for a Dodgers lineup who has a 184 ISO and a 20.2% K rate. I'll talk about this more in a second, but with Dodgers ownership fairly high, Beede could be an interesting tournament play with his strikeout stuff, much like Yu Darvish was on Friday, but Beede still gets up a ton more production and base runners. The spot here for the Dodgers is a little bit better than the one versus Yu on Friday. I think the spot here is a decent one for the Dodgers, but for tournaments, I'm going to also like some Beede exposure. Now into our next corner, the lower owned option on today's slate, and a Toronto stack going against Felix Pena should be one of those teams. Toronto gets 5 implied runs, and Luis Garcia as opener as well as Pena as a projected long reliever both give up decent power to a Toronto lineup that has a 201 ISO versus right-hand pitching. Pena struggles versus lefties with a higher 1.5 whip and less Ks per nine, but mini stacks and one-offs have home run potential at very cheap prices for Toronto. Toronto's in a positive hitting park, one of the best hitting parks in the league. I think it's a nice spot to go to Toronto at not a lot of ownership and also decent value. Luis Chacín at San Diego also interests me a bit with 4.2 implied runs against him. Chacín has been bad this year, but has a 1.01 whip and 8.4 Ks per nine versus righties with an expected righty-heavy San Diego lineup. San Diego's projected lineup is a 28.5% K rate, so a positive pitching park could be a rebound spot for Chacín, who has an iffy 6.8 Ks per nine, 7.4% swing strike rate, and 4.3% home run rate overall this year. Chacín has not been good, but in a positive pitching part versus a team who does give up strikeouts, I think it's a decent spot to go to Chacín given the iffy pitching we have up top is going to have a ton of ownership. And a Washington stack versus Jake Arrieta also looks interesting with 5.5 implied runs for them. The weather here is a concern and one to watch will be closer to lock, but Arrieta's weak 7.5% swing strike rate gives Washington a chance chances to put the ball in play in a strong hitting park. Washington's top 5 hitters are all above a 105 WRC+, and the lefty hitters should get more chances versus Arrieta, given that he has an iffy 1.6 whip and a 5.6 xFIP to that side of the plate. Again, watch the weather in this one as we get closer to lock, but it seems like a nice spot on paper with the Washington team who's not going to be too highly owned, but can do some damage versus Arrieta. I briefly mentioned it in the last slide, but Tyler Beede versus the Dodgers also interests me a bit, despite the 5.3 implied runs against him. With so much weak pitching on the slate, Beede's 10.5 Ks per 9 can be interesting at a low price if the Dodgers stack's ownership does get pretty high. Given the iffy pitching chalk, stabs at guys like Beede or the higher priced Mike Clevenger could be useful given their strikeout ability on a slate full of pitchers who can only mitigate damage. Beede does have strikeouts, Clevenger also has strikeouts. I would look at the guys who can actually get strikeouts today because we're going to have a lot of chalk ownership on pitchers who don't get strikeouts but just limit damage overall. Now on to our last corner, the one-offs, and Mike Trout versus Edwin Jackson is going to be my top one-off today. Trout is always in consideration as a one-off, but Jackson is worse versus righties with a 5.9 xFIP and a 5.3% home run rate allowed, while Trout has a 464 on base percentage and a 195 WRC+ versus right-hand pitching that makes him solid for both cash and tournaments. It's a really good spot for Trout. Trout is not a brave pick as a one-off, but he's one I'm going to have a lot of today as a one-off and as part of those Angels stacks. I Whit Merrifield versus Tommy Milone also interests me as a one-off today with the leadoff spot for him as well as a decreased price, despite a 316 batting average and a 136 WRC+ versus left-hand pitching, while Milone allows 11.2 hits per 9 and a 5.9% home run rate to righties. Merrifield's going to be decently owned today, but so are a couple of other Royals hitters, so going to Merrifield as a one-off could give you a chance at that production without all the chalky ownership that could falter. And Juan Soto versus Jake Arrieta also looks interesting today, with Arrieta allowing a 1.6 whip and 5.6 xFIP to lefties, while Soto has a 412 on base percentage and a 146 WRC+ versus righties, in a game which could have solid production if the weather doesn't cause issues. Those weather issues could drive ownership down throughout the day, so getting ownership on Soto if he does have a big day, as well as the rest of the Nationals, could be valuable. So there are my thoughts on today's slightly weird Monday slate, so please like this video and comment your double dong pick if you want a chance to win a free month of an Awesemo Plus membership. We had 8 guys who guessed the double dongs correctly on Friday. Those people you're going to see on the screen right now: Topi Zientech, Jack Schwartz, Kenny Graves, Joey Cloud, Aaron Levy, Matty Wash, and repeat customers Jim Mayer and Eric Nelson. Both those guys have also picked double dongs twice correctly in their last week, so good job by them. Now, as is always the case when we have multiple people who pick the double dongs correctly, I ran the random number generator to see with all the comments you guys have left over the last week in the Four Corners videos, and the winner with the random number generator is Kenny Graves. So congratulations, Kenny. Email me at chris@awesemo.com for your chance to claim that free month of an Awesemo Plus membership. Thank you to everybody for playing. Good job by everybody. You guys are getting better at making these double dong picks every day, hopefully with the help of this video. So please keep doing it right now, and for your chance to win, you have to both like this video and comment your double dong pick down below to win that free month of Awesemo Plus membership for yourself. And if you don't want to be subject to the whims of my Excel randomizer, use that promo code SWITCH and hedge for half off the first month or week of any Awesemo Plus membership. Get all the ownership projections, the regular projections you can just plug right into Fantasy Cruncher, the deep dive column every day, the top stacks tool, the lineup builder, a lot of things that'll help you make better MLB DFS lineups every day. So use that promo code SWITCH and hedge for half off your first month or week right now. I'll be on DK Lives The Sweat later today, so check me out there. Support me as I'm doing that DraftKings content today. And of course, always follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Chris Spags. The followers give me value, makes it justifiable to wake up at 7:30 in the morning to start working on these videos on the West Coast. So help a brother out. Give me a follow right now. I'll be back tomorrow with another Four Corners video, so enjoy the rest of your day and good luck.